Hello and welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, today we're going to be talking about all of the films I watched throughout the month of October. Footy's a bit messy, sorry. So yeah, today we're going to be going over every movie I watched for the first time throughout October. There's some very exciting films here. There's a lot, so I'm going to be very quick on some, for which I apologise, but, you know, I don't want to make this video longer than it already has to be. So kicking off, I started off October. It is the month of spooky season. So I kicked off with Friday the 13th. I forgot, I need to make room for the posters. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Yeah, so this one here, this is kind of the first one after that classic four lineups. You know, the last one was the one where, you know, apparently Freddy died, and it's not Freddy, sorry, Jason died, and it was going to be the end of the Friday the 13th, but of course they had to bring it back because they made too much money, and they're fun movies. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this one. It's really stupid how he comes back. There's some cringy dialogue and some really terrible acting and some garbage effects. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, and I know that Friday the 13th has a lot of big fans out there. I'm not a big Friday the 13th fan. I much preferred Halloween, Chucky, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, Candyman, all the classics. I really preferred all of the others, if I'm being completely honest. Really sorry to the Friday the 13th fans. This franchise just really wasn't too much for me. I thought this film was below average. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Then we have Curse of Chucky, which is also sort of a reboot for the character. You have the original 3 Chucky child play films, then you have the Bride and Seed, and then this is kind of the modern era adaptation of this character. And I've got to say, it felt like a bit of a breath of fresh air, this one. I quite enjoyed it. There was quite a few interesting things happening, some interesting plot lines. Characters were doing typical horror character things where they're walking into rooms where they'd heard a noise, and it's like standard horror character stuff here. But overall, I actually did have a good time with this one. There were some really fun kills in it. And I liked how Chucky sort of framed someone else for the murders. I thought that was actually quite interesting for a Chucky film. So yeah, I'm going to give this film a 6.5 out of 10. I really didn't mind this one. Then we have Friday the 13th, 6, Jason Lives. Again, here we tried to do the whole Jason coming back from the dead thing, getting hit by the lightning and all that stuff. And yeah, again, I just really don't have much to say about this one. It was a bit better than the last one, I thought. But I still really just don't have much to say about this film, to be honest. I just sort of, it exists in my mind. It sort of blends into all of the others. I can't differentiate. Can't say that bloody word. Differentiate. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit hungover. This film from the others too much. It just didn't really do much for me. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10. And then we have Cult of Chucky. Don't worry, we're going to get off the horrors after this. But I really went into October headstrong with the classic horror characters. Cult of Chucky, I was actually quite excited to watch this one because I really did enjoy it, or was surprised by Curse of Chucky. I was very curious to see where this one was going to go. It definitely wasn't as good as Curse. I feel like Cult just had some really weird choices in it. I really hated the look of the movie as well. It was very bright in places. All of the characters in this were just... Don't get me wrong, the characters in Curse weren't anything special. But the characters in this were a lot worse, I thought. The kills weren't quite as interesting. And I thought Chucky... I don't know, he wasn't quite as funny as he was in any of the other movies. It just felt like a very bland kind of, yeah, we gotta crack a sequel out to Curse. Cult was okay. I think it's down there as maybe my least favourite Chucky film. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Okay, next up, coming off of horror, I watched for the first time ever, very kindly sent to me by Mr. Paul Brook, Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah, I didn't even know what this film was about, to be honest. Well, I knew it was about Lawrence of Arabia, but I didn't really know, like, any plot details, really. I just heard the name, I knew it was a classic, but I'd never really taken the time to check the film out or even look into it. So I went into this one completely blind, and I gotta say, wow, this film was insanely good. 4 hours long is it's hard to pull off a long movie, to make a long movie this good. But the pacing was perfect. I saw some people complaining, saying that they preferred the second half of the movie, because obviously you have the intermission, to the first half. I don't know, I really loved the first half of the movie. I really liked it, where he was trying to win these people over and take them across, the desert and stuff. I thought it was fascinating how he wouldn't leave anyone behind. I thought the acting was brilliant in it. I thought the music was incredible. I just thought it was all round a pretty phenomenal movie, and I absolutely had a blast with it. I'm going to give this film a 9 out of 10. Then we have 300. That's right, Mr. Zack Snyder's 300. I'm now only one film away from seeing all of Zack Snyder's films, and it's the animated hour one, so I do need to check that out at some point this month. But yeah, I actually hadn't seen 300. And I bought the Cine edition, which is right there. So I've had this in my collection for a while now, and I just thought, you know what, it's time to watch it. And it's typical Zack Snyder. I'm not a big Snyder fan. I didn't like the colour palette much. Some of the CGI was a bit too big and grand for me. Yeah, and some odd music choices, but it sort of would fall around the middle of my Zack Snyder ranking. I don't think it's a bad movie. There's some interesting stuff in it. It's definitely one of Gerard Butler's best films. I had no idea that, like, Michael Fassbender was in it, so that was a pleasant surprise. So, yeah, there's definitely some good moments to this film. I liked it. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. It was alright. It's about the best I've got for this one. Next up, after watching Lawrence of Arabia, this was just like, I had to put this film on. And that is Ben-Hur. I'd never seen Ben-Hur. I mean, I'd seen it when I was younger, I think, around my grandparents. I'd seen bits of it on telly and stuff. Because my granddad used to like this film, I believe. But yeah, I couldn't remember enough, so I'm treating it like a new film. And I also really loved this movie. I thought it was great. I'm not a very religious person, but the whole religious aspects to it were really cool. The lead actor, whose name's escaping me at the minute, I thought was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I just again, I thought that the runtime was well warranted because it's a long film. Of course, that epic scene where they're on the chariots going around was absolutely incredible. A lot of the cinematography in terms of, like, the long shots was gorgeous as well. Like, I'm wondering, I need to really watch, like, there's got to be some bonus features on the Blu-ray, which I really need to check out, and I keep meaning to. Because I want to see how they made them. I don't know if they're paintings or stuff. Because it looks like there's so many extras in this film. Like, I'm guessing they're real. Because of, the time it was made. But, wow, what a fantastic piece of cinema here. I'm going to give this film... I don't know whether to go 8.5 or 9, but I'm feeling like I'm in a good mood. I'm going to go a 9 out of 10. Yeah. Okay, next up, Friday the 13th, The New Blood. Yeah, 5 out of 10. I just don't have anything to say on these films, really. I've got one more Friday the 13th film to talk about. I have a little bit to say about that one, to be fair, because it actually feels different from the rest. But I just don't have anything to say about this. Yeah, it exists. Then we have Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie, which I was really excited to watch because I love Hitchcock, and I love Sean Connery. I thought this was going to be a match made in heaven, but if I'm being completely honest, this is one of Hitchcock's weaker films for me. I didn't find the whole relationship between Sean Connery's character and Marnie that interesting. Marnie actually annoyed me a bit. I feel like the film felt a little bit loose in places. It was still a good film, but I just feel like I've seen so much better from Hitchcock, and by so much better, I think nearly all of his films. I might have preferred this over 1 or 2 of his movies, but it's definitely down the bottom of my Hitchcock ranking, which is really unfortunate because I really was excited for this one. I really wanted to love it, and there's so many things going for this movie, but it just didn't grip me like I wanted it to. So I'm going to give Marnie I'm still going to be kind because I do think it's a good movie. Just Hitchcock, you expect that 8, 9 out of 10 barrier of filmmaking, or I do. But I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have Scream 2. I absolutely loved the first Scream film when I watched it for the first time. Can't remember whether it was last month or the month before. But I've watched Scream, I think, 3 times now. I love that movie. I would have gone to the cinema to see it as well if I had the time. Because they've been showing it lately at Cineworld. But I put off watching 2 for a bit because I just figured, I know it's not going to be as good as the first one. And I really don't want to taint that first film. But the trailer come out for the new one, which I still haven't seen because I want to watch all of them. All 4. Then I'll watch the trailer and be prepared for the 5th one next year. So I thought, you know what, I've got to do it. I've got to watch 2. So I did it. And I was pleasantly surprised. It was pretty damn good. Yeah, I'm becoming a big fan of this Scream franchise. Although I have heard the 3rd one is not great. But, you know, I will stick up with the 2nd one a bit. As far as these horror sequels go, because it's a hard thing to pull off with these classic horror franchises, sequels. You know, I think Halloween did it okay. Chucky probably did it the best. Nightmare on Elm Street was a bit wobbly. Friday the 13th was a bit wobbly. I've heard Candyman isn't great. I think Scream is probably my 2nd favourite sequel after Child's Play. I think Child's Play 2 was really good. So yeah, really good. Really good. Some of the deaths and kills were really cool. The twists at the end were kind of fun, you know, typical Scream stuff. And yeah, Ghostface is just a really, really fun character. You know, if you cast him as a character, I guess it's technically multiple characters. You know, Scream's really fun. I have had a blast with this franchise. I'm going to give Scream 2... I'll give it a 6.5. 6.5. Yeah. Okay, next up, we have The Guilty, which of course is the new Netflix film starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, I didn't know this was a remake, actually. My good friend, Mr. Paul Brook, again, shout out to you again, let me know that it is a remake, and the remake was on Sky, I think. And the original, sorry, was on Sky. And I have recorded the original, but I have yet to watch it. So I went into the remake as brand new, know nothing about this, and I'm sure people who have watched the original will probably go, the original's better, blah, blah, blah. You know, the normal. Fair enough. I can't judge, I can't comment. I watched this one as for what it was, and I had a really good time with it. It really surprised me. This is one of the best Netflix films I've seen in a while. Jake Gyllenhaal is always amazing. He's one of my very, very favourite actors. His performance was so captivating, and it really pulled me through that film. And I think he filmed it in like a week, which is crazy. But yeah, I found this film so intense. I thought the runtime was perfect. It's the best Netflix film I've seen in a good amount of time here, I think. Yeah, I'm going to give this film a 7. A 7, yeah, 7, solid 7. I did really enjoy it. Give a quick drink here before we carry on, because my voice will start going, and that's never good. Right, pop that down. Next up, we have A Woman of Paris, which is the 2nd Charlie Chaplin film I've watched. The first one being The Child, which I really loved. This one, Charlie Chaplin is just directing. And I've got to say, I didn't love this one as much. And I think I think just not having him in it was something which I missed. Because I don't know, there wasn't like that captivating character, and I feel like you need that in a silent film. But yeah, it was still good. Although I will also say the music did really get on my nerves near the end. I know that these are silent films and the music's meant to be very bubbly like that, but by the end of the film I was sick of hearing that same style of music being played over and over. Whereas in The Child, I did not have that experience. Yeah, you know, it was good. Some of the shots were quite nice. And again, it's always just fun to go back to these time periods and watch these older films, I think. I'm going to give this film a 6.5, but I didn't love it. Next up, we have Child's Play 2019. That's right, I wanted to finish off the Chucky film so that I could do a ranking. And I did that. So this is the one, of course, where we've got Mark Hamill voicing Chucky. And I really, really like Mark Hamill. And they've gone with a very different approach here on the Chucky character. But there are definitely some aspects about the film that don't work. There's a lot of characters in this which are very forgettable, and you can tell they're just sort of there to get funny, silly deaths. Yeah, it's alright. I respect them for taking on a different direction, but I did miss the normal voice actor. I'll admit, as much as I love Mark Hamill. So yeah, there's definitely a few issues with this film, but overall it's pretty good, I guess. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Give it a 6. Then we have Papillon, which I don't know if I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Papillon, I don't know. Which is of course a Steve McQueen film, and Dustin Hoffman, who I love. I think this is the oldest film with Dustin Hoffman in I've seen. He looks so young here. It really, really caught me off guard. But this was also another film which really, really held my attention well. It surprised the hell out of me. I thought the story was so interesting. I loved just like the costumes and stuff and how gritty and dirty this movie could be. Some really fascinating stuff in this film. I had never heard of this film, to be honest, before Mr. Paul Brooks sent it to me. So, yeah, I'm going to give this film... I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. I thought it was really, really good. Then, in preparation for the last duel, because I knew that it was the first time Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were doing something together again, I thought it's about time I watched Goodwill Hunting. So, I watched Goodwill Hunting. Yeah, I know, I couldn't believe I'd never seen this film. This is one of those few Blu-rays that has been in my collection for a while, and I just never got round to watching it. And I thought, you know what, it's about time, I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch Goodwill Hunting. So I did it, and yeah, wow, what an incredible movie. It was really great. You know, it was interesting. I really liked Ben Affleck in this film. He was really great. I wish he had more scenes. Matt Damon was great. You know, he plays this kind of arsehole-y type kid, but you really do want him to succeed. And Robin Williams gives maybe the best performance I've ever seen him give, alongside the Fisher King, maybe. I thought he was really great in that as well. Yeah, Goodwill Hunting can have an 8.5 out of 10. And then we have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It's shit. I hate it. Nah, 2 out of 10. What a piece of shit. Then, Halloween Kills. Now, I did review this film in full detail, so I'll be quick on this one. Yeah, it's not great. It's not bad. It's just fun. Jason gets a lot of really cool kills in. Not Jason, Michael. Sorry, I keep getting the names of these characters. I mean, there's so many of them that I've had to try and learn over the last month. Michael gets some really awesome kills in. Yeah, there's some stupid moments to it, but it's just really fun. At this point, I don't go to Halloween to get a really well-made, smart movie. I go to watch Michael Myers kill people in the most brutal ways, and I got it, and it was fun. 6.5 out of 10. Then, the final Friday the 13th set in my set that I have, it goes up to the 8th movie. I will probably watch the other Friday the 13th films at some point. It's just getting the effort to put them on, because as I say, I'm not a huge fan of this franchise. But the last one in my set is Jason Takes Manhattan. And do you know what? This was my favourite out of the ones I've talked about today, purely because it felt different. It felt a little bit more interesting seeing Jason chase people around Manhattan. Yeah, that's much more cooler than just, we're on a lake again. 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 I know that he haunts this lake, but Jesus, you can only do it for so many films. This was so much more interesting to me, getting him out into the big city, seeing him chase people around there. Yep, I'm fully for that. And I know there's some Friday the 13th fans who are going to be really mad at me, because I know that I'm spitting out some trash opinions, probably, in some people's eyes here. But that's just how I feel about this franchise. This was the most interesting one to me. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Then, finally, some people are going to be very pleased to hear this. Finally, I watched Schindler's List, the great Spielberg movie. And I can honestly say this film was phenomenal. It was unbelievable. It blew my mind. Yes, I wish I hadn't waited this long, because this film was so incredible. HMV do this really nice little 4K pack of it. I think you get a little book in there or something as well, and I'm so tempted to pick it up because I absolutely love this movie. It's so hard to watch. There are moments where I can actually feel my eyes swelling up. It's beautifully shot, beautifully made. I nearly cried about 4 or 5 times throughout this film. The performances, especially from Ralph Fiennes and Ben Kingsley, are incredible. Liam Neeson gives probably the best performance of his career as well. Wow, I mean, honestly, just what a fantastic movie. The score, the cinematography, out of this world filmmaking right there. Really, really incredible. I'm going to go 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, this film is more or less perfection, I think. I really do believe it. It's absolutely incredible. Then we have The Last Duel, which, yeah, I apologise. I didn't get around to reviewing this properly on the channel. Just didn't have the time, but I did go to the cinema and see this. The new Ridley Scott film, which is making absolutely no money, which is a terrible shame because I really like this movie. Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Ben Affleck give incredible performances, but Jodie Comer, oh my god, I'm so happy that she's popping up in Hollywood films because she is truly one of the greatest actresses going. Please, please, please let this actress keep getting roles because she's so good. In this and Free Guy, she's been incredible this year. So yeah, brilliant. Ridley Scott is such a good director when he wants to be. Some of the cinematography was gorgeous. The costumes and stuff were fantastic. You could tell that they actually went to a lot of these locations. And also, I want to say the sound effects as well. I thought the sound mixing was great. There are shots where characters are just talking by a fire and it sounds so crisp. And it's like, this is brilliant. It almost reminds me like watching those early seasons of Game of Thrones. So cool. The story itself I thought was really interesting. And I know some people might get a bit bored of having that same story told from 3 different points of view, but each point of view was so different. I thought it worked really well. I'm going to give this film an 8.5 out of 10. This is really one of the best films of 2021 I've seen, and at the minute it's still in my top 10. Then we have Annette, which is another brand new 2021 release, a musical starring Mr. Adam Driver. I didn't know this guy could sing. I was so curious to hear him sing. So I had to watch it, and it has, I always forget her name, the French actress who pops up in a lot of Nolan films. But, you know, she's brilliant as well. She's an incredible actress. And Adam Driver's a fantastic actor. Two absolute legendary, modern legendary actors, in my opinion, who are just going at it here, giving 2 of their best performances, singing their hearts out. And I just thought it was really good. Sparks, I believe, the band Sparks wrote a lot of the music, and you could sort of tell. Yeah, I've added 1 song from it onto my playlist because I really like it. There are some good tunes in here. Yeah, the film could be a little bit pretentious at times, I guess, but I still really enjoy. I really liked a lot of those aspects about it, to be honest. The only thing I wasn't too sure on was like the baby was a puppet. I thought that was an odd choice. But some of the things the baby was doing in the movie, it's like, yeah, it would have looked even weirder with a real baby, I guess. So I can sort of see why you went with a puppet, but yeah. Anyway, Annette, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 to. Then we got Dune 2021. I have reviewed this film in full detail on the channel, so I'll be quick. Yep, the film is gorgeous. It looks fantastic. It sounds incredible with the sound mixing, and the score is brilliant. The acting is fantastic all round. But, yeah, there's some pacing issues. It's not quite as good as I wanted it to be. I wanted this film to be like a 9 out of 10. I wanted it to be a Blade Runner 2049. It's not quite that, because, as I say, there are definitely pacing issues, which I hope they can fix for part 2. 8.5 out of 10 still, though. Really good film. Then I finally watched The Lost Boys. Yeah, never watched The Lost Boys. Thought, got to do it in October. Don't want to leave it till November or something. That's silly. Want to do this one in October. We like some vampires. So this was a really, really fun time. Yeah, I really liked all the acts in it. So I thought it was a really fun little concept. This kid seeing his brother turn into a vampire, learning to deal with all that stuff. I thought it was really, really interesting. So yeah, I gotta say, I had a very good time with The Lost Boys. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I'm going to have a quick drink, or else my voice is going to completely go, and then the video is going to be ruined. Okay. Okay. We push forward. Next up, we have The Gold Rush, which is also another Charlie Chaplin film. This one brought me back to the child Charlie Chaplin stuff, where it's like, yeah, okay, the tramp is back, Charlie Chaplin's back. And again, it was really funny seeing him go about. The music was a lot better in this one. I just was a bit more interested in what was happening with this movie. Don't have loads to say on it, but yeah, I think that it warranted the runtime and everything. There was some really interesting shots in it, and yeah, you know, you got to look at this film as a product of its time. I give this film a 7.5 out of 10. Then we have Days of Thunder, which I was really curious to watch because I like racing in real life. I like my Formula One and stuff. I like racing films, and I like Tom Cruise. But somehow this film ended up being really boring, and which is a big shame. Michael Rooker was in it, and he didn't even bring much charisma to it. I thought Tom Cruise was really, really flat in this movie. Just kind of, yeah. Really don't have much to say about this film, to be honest. It was just really disappointing. I was expecting to really like it, and it was just so average. 5.5 out of 10. Then we have West Side Story, 1961, the original. Which I've been planning to watch anyway, because I know that Spielberg's one, of course, is coming up this year, I think, in December. We're not too far away from it, so I wanted to watch the original. It's not one of my favourite musicals. I didn't think the songs were great, and I didn't connect with the story as well as I'd hoped. There were definitely some really good moments to it, but in terms of musicals that I've seen, it probably is down the lower end, but I do really like my musicals, so I still had a lot of fun with this. There were some really cool moments to it. I'll give West Side Story a 7 out of 10. Then we have The French Dispatch, which I really wanted to review on my channel, but again, just run out of time because I love Wes Anderson, as people know. He's like top 5 directors for me. I own all his films in the Criterion Collection. I love the man. And The French Dispatch was like top 2, 3 most anticipated films of 2021 for me. And I can tell you now, it didn't disappoint. I really, really liked this film. It was a lot better than Isle of Dogs, I thought, because, funny enough, I rewatched Isle of Dogs this week, because I've been back in the Wes Anderson mood. And I still think that's one of his weakest films, which is a real shame, because that was the first one I saw at cinema. So I was really pleased that I could walk out of this one going, yes, a Wes Anderson film I really liked, and I got to see it on the big screen. This film tells 3 separate stories, sort of. I found the first story brilliant about a painter and stuff. The second one was with, the second one was Timothy Chalamet's one, wasn't it? I thought that one was a bit, but I really liked the last story as well. I thought that pulled it back. And yeah, I thought the performances in it were brilliant. Bill Murray was great. Owen Wilson was really good. Benicio del Toro was incredible. There's so many actors in this who give incredible performances. So, yeah, they were just all absolutely fantastic. I did really like this film overall. Thought the score was great. Wes Anderson is an absolute legend in terms of filmmaking, I think. I absolutely love him. So, yeah, I'm going to give this film... I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Really, really good film. Then we have Godzilla 2000. Had to get a Godzilla film in. Always have to do at least one a month. You know, this is entering the Millennium era of Godzilla. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was fun. Just watch Godzilla fight a couple monsters, destroy a couple cities. You know, typical standard stuff. I thought the design of Godzilla, it gets better with each film now. And I'm pushing forward and forward now to completing and saying I've watched all the Godzilla films. We're getting there, folks. And when I've done it, I might even do a ranking of all of them. But there's a lot of bloody films there. I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. Then I watched a film which everyone's been buzzing about. Everyone's been saying it's their favourite film of the year. Blah, 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 blah. I've seen loads of people raving about this. So I was like, I've got to watch it. And that is the film Tame by the director of Raw. I really like this film, but there are some issues that I personally have, and I don't think people are going to agree with me because it all comes down to personal preference on what I'm about to criticise it on. But what I'm about to criticise it on really just pulls it back for me. And I can't say this is one of my favourite films of the year. It's definitely up there, but it's not in my top 10. This film is so interesting. I love the way it's shot. It's beautiful to look at. The soundtrack is incredible. The pacing's brilliant. As far as filmmaking goes, it's really quite incredible. But the story and some of the violence is a bit much for me. I'm okay with most violent things. I watch a lot of violent movies, as you guys know. I'm very open-minded with that stuff. But some of this, I had to look away. And I know that is almost a testament or me praising the filmmaking, because for them to do that, it shows how brutal it is and how realistic. But enjoyment-wise, I struggled with a couple scenes in this one. I was like, no, too much. Not for me. But, you know, I do try to also stay open-minded and look at the filmmaking side of things. And it was brilliant. And about 80% of the film really did have my attention. There's definitely a few issues with it, I think. I think it's getting a little bit overpraised, a little bit overrated in some areas of this movie reviewing community. But I did like it a lot. And that isn't me criticising people who love it. I'm pleased people loved it. I just think, for me, it's getting a bit overrated. But I did like it a lot. Going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. I feel like a lot of people are going to be a bit annoyed at me with that one. But it's just my opinion, guys. Then I watched The Right Stuff, which was also very kindly sent to me by Mr. Paul Brook. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this film. You know, Steve McQueen again. I didn't love it as much as I think some people do. I definitely think, because all the films you sent me, Mr. Paul Brook, were very long. I think this is the one that doesn't warrant the runtime. This one here definitely could have been trimmed down, I think, personally. But, you know, the acting was all good. It was still interesting. Yeah, I don't have loads to say about this one. I thought it was good. Not great. 7.5 out of 10. Then I did review this one on my channel, so I'll be brief. This is still got my number one spot for 2021. And that is Last Night in Soho. Absolutely freaking incredible movie. Edgar Wright has done it again. That man, every film he's made has been like an 8 out of 10 and above. This is maybe my third or fourth. I'm still tossing between third or fourth favourite Edgar Wright film. Absolutely adored this film. Incredible filmmaking. If you want to hear me talk about it more, go watch my review. 9 out of 10. Really loved it. Really loved it. Then I watched Fistful of Dollars. That's right. For my birthday, my parents, or my mum very kindly got me. We split it. Split the price, of course, because it's an expensive box set. Clint Eastwood, 63 film collection, I think. 63? What's the box called? The Signature Film Collection. I will be doing a video on it. So yeah, started that. Fistful of Dollars. Wow, what an incredible start to the Man with No Name trilogy. I thought this was absolutely phenomenal. One of my favourite scenes ever now in a movie is in this film. I love it where he walks past the guy who's making the coffins. He's about to have a shootout and he goes, "Get 3 coffins ready." And then he has a shootout and he shoots 4 people. I was like, oh, they messed up a bit there. And he walks back past him. He goes, "My mistake. 4 coffins." I was like, that is so cool. I loved it. I thought that was great. But there's so many great moments like that throughout this entire movie. Really, really did enjoy this film. I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 10. Then we have Army of Thieves. Yep, the spin-off of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Now, I didn't think Army of the Dead was that great. And I've watched Army of the Dead twice now, and it really weakened on second watch. I didn't love it much on first watch, but then I really, really took everything in on second watch. I didn't think it was very good. I don't know how that film got a spin-off. I really don't, especially about one of, you know, the comedic relief of the movie. This film is so boring. It doesn't really do anything bad, I guess, but it doesn't do anything good. It's just so middle of the road, like, yeah, it exists. All the new characters kind of, they suck other than Natalie Ithanuel's character. I think that's how you say her name. Her character was pretty good, to be fair. She was probably the best. She was probably better than the main guy. Although I've got to say, the main guy did make me laugh a couple of times. He's a funny actor. He is. I'm not sure about his directing skills because he did direct this as well. But he is a funny guy. So he did make me laugh a couple of times. Yeah, this film can have a 5.5 out of 10. It is so, yeah. Then we got 2 more films for a few dollars more. Of course, the follow-up to Fistful of Dollars, which is great. I like meeting, technically, the bad. I like meeting the other, you know, the other kind of bounty hunter type character that goes against Clint Eastwood a lot. He was really cool. And I like just seeing those two go back and forth. A lot of really cool action sequences. And again, I forgot to mention this with Fistful of Dollars. The score by Ennio Morricone is, wow. It is so insanely good. Give this film an 8.5 as well. And then the final film I got to talk about was a gift from the wonderful Mr. Alex Pitt, and that is Dinner in America from 2020. Or 2021, I think, if you're in the UK here, because I don't think it got a cinema release. We actually had to wait for that Arrow Video Blu-ray. Wasn't sure about this film at first. I was a bit like, this is a bit odd. We're just watching some messed up people do some messed up stuff. And then the story sort of collided, and I got so invested in these characters. It was so weird. The first 20 minutes, I was just like, I don't think I'm going to like this. And then all of a sudden, it done a complete 360 where I walked away going, I'm really enjoying this. Really weird film. But yeah, it's really cool. I love the lighting in this one. The colour palette that they went for is great. Some of the cinematography is gorgeous, and the acting is wow. Really, really cool. It's a unique story, and I'd recommend anyone who's out there getting Arrow Video films at the minute. This is a big recommendation, I think. It's a newer film as well, which is kind of interesting because Arrow kind of focus more on, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s movies, I guess. But yeah, this was a really cool one. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And there we go. I've got to pick a film of the month, though. And you know what, I want to give a huge shout out to Lawrence of Arabia. I was so dead certain that Lawrence of Arabia was going to get my #1 spot. But the more I think about it, I have to go with Schindler's List. Because, yeah, that film just was, like, just so incredible. So incredible. The Lawrence of Arabia, I want to give that film a special shout as well. It's kind of a tie this month, to be honest. Both those films are just so damn near perfection. I really love them both. But I'm going to go with Schindler's List. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as always. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message. And as always, I will see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.